Are you nervous?
Yes.
How come?
How come? Girl, I'm a grown man and I'm nervous. When's the last time you ran a brush through that pigeon's nest you call a wig?
Do I look scary? Do you know what I am?
I'll take a guess at this one. A gay man that didn't feel fabulous enough, so he decided to start wearing women's clothing?
No.
I thought I just guessed.
I'm a drag queen.
Looks like I was right. What's up, everybody? Ty Rivera here, the absolute best LGBTQ comedian in the world. All right, so I decided to make a video about this because I saw that Gays Against had clipped it for one of their Twitter posts, and I wanted to see what the backstory was behind it, but it was from a channel called Hi Ho Kids, and this particular clip came from a video that they did about 6 years ago. The name of the video is Kids Meet a Drag Queen. So that's just to let you guys know that technically they recorded this video before it was the controversy that it's turned into. They do a series. They're still a popular channel to this day. Some of the things they've done are Kids Try Desserts from ATW, Kids Meet a Zoologist, Kids Describe Emotions, Kids and Elmo Meet a Marine Biologist, just kind of wholesome stuff like that. And we'll go ahead and watch this video together. I'll get to my opinions at the end of the video and as the video goes, but I will start off by just saying, unless your kid is going to school in a gay bar, there's absolutely no reason for them to have to meet a drag queen or even know what drag is. So let's just watch the video and get to it. I'll give my opinions at the end. Oh, before we go any further, I'm just gonna ask, as always, that you like, comment, and subscribe. If you want to comment just to help me on the algorithm, but you don't know what to comment, just put a knife, because the community is gonna come for my neck on this one. But let's do it anyway.
I think I can see your beard. I see.
You can see my beard.
That little girl came to clock tea today. She did not come to play. She was like, I'ma read whatever's in this room. What's up with the beard, lady?
Oh no!
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Okay, the first kid, I don't know who did that rainbow colored hair for him, but it really does look nice. I would imagine his mother's probably a lesbian. Could be wrong.
What's your name?
Miko.
Miko? I'm Isabella. What's your name?
Kristen.
Kristen? Nice to meet you. I'm Isabella. How are you doing?
Good.
Good. Are you nervous?
Yes.
How come? Do I look scary? Do you know what I am? No. I'm a drag queen.
Now, I saw people on X commenting on the fact that she moves in each time she talks. I think that's something a lot of people do when they're talking to kids. I don't know why people insist on talking to kids like they're deaf or they don't understand English, but it's a very common thing I've noticed whenever people talk to kids. I, unless they're related to me, don't talk to kids, but when I talk to the kids that are in my family, I pretty much talk to them like I talk to any other adult unless they're a baby, which I think the youngest baby we have right now is 5, and she is by far the youngest in my family. And I just talked to her like, what's up, baby? It's my little niece. So while some people were saying that he was being threatening by moving in to talk like that, I don't really know that that's the intention here. You guys can let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. I came to give my opinion. I didn't come to argue. So if you feel something different, just let me know in the comments. You don't have to be rude about it. You don't have to call me stupid. You don't have to accuse me of making excuses for people. I'm not doing any of that. I'm just giving what my assessment is.
Have you ever heard of a drag queen before? No?
What is a drag queen?
A drag queen is someone who expresses themselves creatively through performance. So dress up in wild costumes, big wigs, crazy makeup, and then get on stage and perform and entertain people.
And I know why you're speaking like that.
Like what?
Like a man, girl. What do you mean, like what?
Like, you look like you would speak in a different way,
Yeah?
but now you're speaking different. So now I know we're a boy.
I'm a boy. You're
Yeah.
right. I'm a boy. I'm a boy.
You're a man. You're not a boy. What you're talking to are boys, little boys. You are a man in drag.
Wait,
I-
what?
You didn't think I was a boy?
I've been thinking.
You thought I was a girl?
I've been thinking
No, I'm a
you're
boy. How do you feel about that?
A little bit weirded out, but like a little interesting.
Interesting. It's a lot to think about.
Do you always dress up as a girl?
Not always, only when I'm performing. I usually live most of my life in jeans and a t-shirt and a backwards ball cap.
That's really cool. So you're gay?
Apparently it runs in the family because this little girl decided to clock T2. She's like, so you're gay? And she's being nice about it. That's the thing. The young generation does understand. That's why I don't think that there's any reason to introduce kids to drag queens, because kids are already going to figure all this stuff out on their own. They're learning it at home. They have TV. They have the internet. A lot of them are native to the tablet. They're looking at that stuff on their parents' iPad, so they don't need a special visit from a drag queen.
I am. Good question.
Did you curl your eyelashes?
I did. I use an eyelash curler. But yeah, your previous question, I am gay. I came out of the closet when I was 21 years old.
What's coming out of the closet means?
And this little girl is a little too close to being a baby for me to be comfortable with her in this conversation. And I think even though they were trying to show something different with this clip, what it does highlight for me is the slippery slope parents talk about when they say that maybe they're not ready to address some of these things with their kids, because this little girl right here, her question could lead to what's gay. And sometimes parents don't want to have to explain what gay is to a kid that young. So even though I think they were trying to make a different point, I think it really does highlight what it is parents are somewhat concerned about. Some parents are not anti-LGBT. Some parents have friends that are actually from the community or in the community, but just don't want to talk to their kids about that before they're ready.
Coming out of the closet means when you tell everybody that you're gay. It's something that gay people have to do.
Do you have to be gay to do drag?
No, anybody can do drag. Drag is for anybody and everybody who wants to put on a fun costume and get up on stage and entertain people. Everybody should try drag at least once. It's really fun.
Even kids?
See, there's what people get worried about, because what we're trying to avoid is influencing the kids. So when you have this kind of stuff going around, it really doesn't help us, and especially in an election year. Like I said, this was from 6 years ago, but they're certainly going to use this against us.
Yeah, there's actually quite a few kids that are starting to do drag.
Do dogs do drag?
Do dogs do drag?
And again, this little girl, she wants to talk about puppies. She doesn't want to hear about drag queen. She doesn't want to hear about when anybody came out of the closet. She doesn't want to get introduced to all these things. Little kids like that, boys and girls, they want to talk about puppies, toy cars, and Barbies and stuff like that. They don't need to learn what a drag queen is.
Why did you want to get to be a drag queen?
Why did I want to be a drag queen?
Okay, I'm gonna come off really shady when I say this, but if you've ever known any drag queens in real life, they usually are, like I said at the beginning, they're usually unfabulous, on the heavier side. One of my friends, when I first came out, described it to me in a funny way where he was like, if you've ever seen these drag queens out of drag, they're usually hideous. But then when you see them as drag queens, you're like, okay. And then they get to put on the attitude and then they become fabulous. And that's what it is with a lot of these drag queens. Now, don't get me wrong. There are occasionally good-looking men that do drag and they can be good at it too. But by and large, it's usually queens that just don't feel fabulous. So then they get in drag and that gives them the alter ego they need. That is their Sasha Fierce girl.
I first went and saw a drag show and thought it was really fun. And so I started playing with makeup and wigs and just fell in love with performing. Do you like to sing?
Yeah.
What do you like to sing?
I like to sing Moana.
Moana?
See, that little girl... I mean, let these kids be kids. Leave them alone.
What about you? Do you like to dance?
A little. I like to do this dance called the floss.
What's that?
Like this.
It's called the floss?
Yeah, because it looks like you're flossing your teeth. Is that a costume?
It is.
Like Halloween?
It's kind of like Halloween every day.
Except the candy part, there's no candy. Are your eyelashes real or fake?
That little girl loves clocking people. She's like, let's talk about the lashes. Girl, I am not buying it. This little girl is not falling for any of the tricks.
I glued them onto my eye.
Glued?
Yeah.
What about the gems over there?
I glued those on too.
What about the lipstick?
The lipstick I just painted on.
Paint?
Yeah, and then I tapped glitter into it.
Glitter.
I like everything to sparkle a little bit.
A
I
lot
say
of
if you're not sparkling, you're not trying. Right?
I'm not trying to be mean, but he's sparkling, and I still feel like he's not really trying. This is such basic drag anyway. Let me not be mean because I have a lot of drag friends, and they're good at drag. So sometimes when I see somebody that's more on the basic end like this, which I'm sure he was dressed extra dowdy for school, let me not judge, but this frump.
Do you ever wear sparkly things?
Not really,
How come you don't wear anything sparkly?
because I think some people at school make fun of me.
Well, those people, their opinions aren't important.
Do people ever make fun of you?
When I was younger, people did, but that's because, kids can be mean. There's been a few times that I've encountered people that weren't quite as nice and were a little bit judgmental. What?
I know what to do. Just don't speak.
This kid gives advice. He's like, girl, keep your mouth shut. It ain't in the personality. I'm just joking. I don't even think this drag queen has a bad personality. I just think that this is inappropriate for kids. And I don't think that he's trying to be a creep. I feel like this queen, because drag can be a lot like stand-up comedy. I don't know if you guys know this, but when we first start out in stand-up comedy, we make no money. And with drag queens, it's a similar situation. Drag queens, even when they've been going for a while, sometimes show pay will be as low as $35 for like a regular drag queen, not one of the RuPaul's girls. Those girls can make real money. And when I say girls, I'm talking about drag queens. So I hope you guys understand. To me, all that stuff isn't really important. I'm just trying to paint the picture, and this is the way we talk in the community. In the community, we will refer to the drag queens as girls in a lot of cases. They know they're not girls. We know they're not girls. So please don't get mad at me in the comments about something so basic. But a lot of times the girls, if it's a high-end show and they're not one of the RuPaul girls, they're going to be making 75 to maybe 100, 150, which we all know in this economy, you're not paying your rent off of that money. So what happened was one of the producers from Hi Ho Kids probably knew this drag queen and asked them if they'd be interested in doing it, said they'd pay them a little bit of money, and this drag queen was like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. That's the way it works. I performed at a high school once when I was starting out. 2 days in a row I performed at a high school. It was the last 2 days of the school year where they officially had to be there, but they didn't have any assignments for them or anything like that. So they hit up one of my friends who also does stand-up comedy, and they were like, can you put together a couple of comedians that can do these shows? And I was one of the comedians that they booked. I learned why I should never perform for kids because I accidentally said something that was basically adult humor, and that's why I practice what I preach. You won't see me performing for kids, and I don't think these drag queens should be taking these gigs for kids either. But where I will say something is sometimes people will bring their child into an adult venue, and I don't think that that's on the performer. I think that's on the parents. So when you see kids at a drag brunch and people are blaming the drag queens for it, if they're doing a drag brunch and a parent shows up with their kids, that drag queen has no idea that there's actually a kid in the audience, and there isn't a different show that we usually have that's going to be more kid friendly. So at that point, I don't think that it's really on the performer, be they a drag queen or a comedian or a singer or whatever else they are. It really is on the parents. We're just there to do the gig. We didn't have any idea what you were going to bring to us.
Don't you think I should just be myself?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you ever wish you were a girl?
I don't. I like being a boy, but I enjoy dressing up like a girl.
What does your family think about your job?
At first they were a little unsure of it. They didn't quite understand what I was doing. But as they learned more, they've opened up more to it. What would your family say if you were a drag queen?
Get out of this house.
Really?
That's what my dad would say.
It makes me wonder if their parents knew they were going to be coming to this, because well, maybe his mother and his father are separated and his mother approved it and his dad didn't know, because that seems to be a little bit off if his dad would be that much against it, but here he is doing this show where he's being introduced to a drag queen.
Well, you can change people's minds.
Yeah. I'm pretty much not weirded out now.
You're not?
Yeah,
Good.
I'm comfortable.
Anybody can do anything they want.
That's not true. That's not true at all.
If they want to wear a dress, that's fine.
You just
if
need
they want to wear
believe.
pants. Yeah. Just believe in it.
Thank you, Isabel.
Thank you guys. It was great to meet you. It was so good to meet you. Yeah. I'll see you later.
See you later.
All right, just to let you guys know, I still am the same place on it that I was before. I do understand how 6 years ago this might have seemed like a good idea to the producers though, because I don't know if you guys remember this, but back in 2013, 2014, there was an entire campaign that was directed at the LGBTQ community, mainly LGBTQ youth, that was to discourage self-delete by LGBTQ youth. And in a lot of cases, they would have performers and people from the LGBTQ community that were older basically speak to the youth and let them know that it does get better. So with this being 6 years ago, that was a little closer to that time. What's that, 2018? Yeah. So this probably seemed like a nice, fun, wholesome idea. Put in today's context though, it really didn't age well. And I will say that I do understand when parents and other adults are like, yeah, this really shouldn't be for kids, because it is the same as if you were to have any other kind of adult entertainer introducing themselves to kids. Yeah, that does exist, and not all of those people are at all bad people, but at the same time, it's not something that kids need to be introduced to because there's really no reason for it. Now, I'm not saying this is right, but people can sometimes make the argument that kids should at least know what gay and trans are. I personally do not feel that way because I feel that kids can learn this on their own from their parents or just in a more natural way. But some people will argue that when it comes to LGBT in general, that eventually these kids might encounter them in school, so that's why they should know and know what to be sensitive to or know how to treat these people or to treat these people with respect. I'm not with that, but at the same time, I can see how people would make that argument. Drag queen on the other end, I've been in this world a lot of years, and it is almost never that I run into a drag queen out in the wild. I usually will not see a drag queen unless I go to a gay bar, or even more specifically, I go to a gay bar on a night that they're having a drag show. Outside of that, I don't usually see drag queens out in the real world, so I don't understand why kids would need to see this in the first place. But some people from the community are going to argue that it's necessary, and I'm going to say this is why we as LGBT are hemorrhaging support, and it's because we refuse to course correct. We refuse to accept that people do not want this for their kids. Most people don't really care what we do as adults, but when it comes to kids, a lot of people are protective of kids, and for good reason. There's a lot of creeps out there. There's a lot of people that have slipped through the cracks, and especially lately, and it's okay for parents to put their foot down and just say, no, this isn't what we want. This isn't what we're doing. This isn't the way we're raising our kids. And the other thing is, drag isn't even an orientation or an identity. So I don't know why it's something we really have to talk about. As he said himself, it's a form of entertainment. So there's really no reason that kids need to know what a drag queen is. If a kid's family is already geared that way, then there's a good chance their mom or dad or both, or their two dads or their two moms watch RuPaul's Drag Race. So they've already had that conversation at home. They don't need to get interviewed on a video to meet a drag queen. I will also remind you guys that, as I've said on other videos, if I were a parent, I would not want anybody else introducing my kids to LGBT in general, no matter how good their intentions were. That's a conversation that I would want to have with my kid, just like when it comes to heterosexual activity. And you know what I mean by activity. I would want that conversation to come from me, not from any other adult. So when my kid would need that conversation, which would probably be when they asked me about it. And maybe I'm old school. So again, comment, let me know if you guys just think I'm totally off on this. But I don't know when all these random adults decided that they were now in charge of raising everybody else's kids or deciding what everybody else's kids are going to be exposed to. But I don't think it's a good way for us to go as LGBT. I don't think it's helping us. And I think in the long run, it's really going to hurt us more than anybody that's pushing this realizes. But let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. As always, this has been Ty Rivera, the absolute best LGBTQ comedian in the world.
They bought into his bullshit.